Shock survey finds reduced funds for almost half of all major city police departments in America. There has been a tremendous debate over the past few weeks as to whether police agencies across the country need to be defended. But what most Americans don't realize is that this is already happening on a large scale, at a time when crime rates are definitely rising and civil unrest is increasing in major cities across the country. Police budgets are being cut deeply. In some cities, it is talked about completely eliminating police departments. I knew that several cities were already moving in this direction, but I had no idea that this happened so widely. According to a report by the Police Executive Research Forum, almost half of the law enforcement officers they surveyed are expected to have funds already cut or reduced. Nearly half of 258 agencies surveyed this month are reporting that funding has already been slashed or is expected to be reduced, according to a report slated for release this week by the Police Executive Research Forum, a non-partisan research organization. Much of the funding is being pulled from equipment, hiring, and training accounts, even as a number of cities also are tracking abrupt spikes in violent crime, the report concluded. And in most cases, we're not talking about small cuts. Police funds in Los Angeles decreased by $15 million, and police funds in New York decreased by $1 billion in total. These are amazing numbers. There was an offer to cut police funding by 50% in Seattle, but apparently this was not good enough for some people, and now a measure that will completely eliminate the entire Seattle Police Department has been introduced. Breaking: Seattle City Council moves to abolish the entire Seattle Police Department and replace it with a civilian-led Department of Community Safety and Violence Prevention. They want to replace the police force with non-profit programs and community-led activities. If you live in the Seattle area and are concerned that no one will call if someone enters your house in the future, you can be sure that someone will still be on the other end of the line when you call 911. However, instead of an armed police officer who responds to your call, you can be a community safety officer equipped with a science and mind and pedal your bike to mental health assessment. Conflict is about the person you had. Minneapolis is another big city that is considering eliminating the police completely, but for now, MPD is still working. However, they are now completely overwhelmed by a huge wave of crime that erupted in the city, and in recent emails to residents of the 3rd District, they told citizens to be ready to leave your cell phone and wallet. Be prepared to give your cell phone and purse or wallet, the police said in their email, a copy of which was obtained by Alpha News. The email said citizens should listen to criminals and do as they say. The message warned that some victims have been maced, dragged, assaulted, and some threatened with a gun. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be comfortable if I received this email. Chicago is also dealing with a huge wave of crime. At this point, many people are shot in the city and make headlines all over the world. Data released on Saturday showed that Chicago saw 440 homicides between January 2020 through the end of June, a 52% increase from the same time period last year, which saw 290 homicides. Shooting victims similarly increased by 51%, 1,480 to 2,240, and shooting incidents themselves rose 47%, from 1,210 to 1,783. It's the property crime that made headlines in Los Angeles, and the latest figures show that auto thefts in the city broke an all-time record in the last quarter. A COVID-19 induced recession with exceptionally high unemployment in Los Angeles has resulted in record high auto thefts in 2020. A new report via Crosstown, LA, who examined the Los Angeles Police Department LAPD data reveals that 5,744 vehicle thefts occurred between April and June, up 57.7% from the same period last year. As thousands of businesses closed in Southern California city, the unemployment rate skyrocketed past 13.2%, recorded in 2010, to 19.5%, as the virus-induced recession permanently closed businesses and severely pressured household finances. A tick-up in crime is common during deep economic downturns. Months of lockdowns made vehicles susceptible to break-ins. Crosstown also said the California Judicial Council's passing of a new $0 bail policy was another contributing factor to the surge in thefts, which meant most non-violent crimes had no bail requirements as a way to mitigate the spread of the virus in jails. However, it is not really fair to point out only a few cities because the crime wave we are facing is actually national. We have never seen such a dramatic increase in crime in such a short time. The following Fox News is coming. A host of other cities, Houston, Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York City, Philadelphia, Portland, and Seattle also saw spikes in shootings and murders, according to public data. I think it's just a perfect storm of distress in America, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance bottom said in July. In her city, the police department reported a 240% increase in murders from 5 to 17 when comparing a 4-week period ending in July 2019 to the same time frame this year. New York City, meanwhile, saw 277% increase in shootings from 13 to 49 when observing the year-over-year change for 1 week in July. In such an environment, does it really make sense to defeat the police? Unfortunately, you and I are not decision makers, and now police budgets are cut dramatically from shore to shore. Meanwhile, civil unrest continues to disappear in most of our largest cities. For example, protesters in Portland made headlines just by burning an American flag and Bible. Protesters burned an American flag and a Bible in Portland, Oregon, sparking outrage just as weeks of violent demonstrations seemed to be coming to a close. For more than 60 days, Black Lives Matter demonstrators, including a wall of moms and a wall of vets, have clashed with federal agents in the city, drawing national attention as authorities blasted marchers with tear gas, and the civilians at times responded with weapons of their own, such as feces, bleach, bricks, or batteries. Unfortunately, what we have experienced so far is just the beginning. The upcoming election definitely has the potential to trigger more protests and more riots, and the serious economic downturn we are experiencing now will fuel the fire. Wherever you look, people are angry and nervous, and our society seems to be leaving the stitches around us in. Right now, politicians across America have decided to radically cut down on police funding, and it goes without saying that this will have serious consequences for every man, woman, and child in the entire country. Most of the idea, comment, information, and criticism containing in these videos have been created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.